All right, we are on air. It is Thursday, January 10th, and this is a meeting to talk about community outreach for Backdrop CMS. Let's see. Let's just go through the agenda. I've got some exciting things to interject as we go. But backdropcms.org website. We're currently working on some changes to the modules, themes, and layouts, search pages. Hopefully those will go up the same time as Backdrop 112 comes out, and that will be able to leverage some of our new tagging ability in 112. So that will be really nice. Homepage updates as well. And Nate, I know you did some work on this a while back, but I don't think we've had an official update on it yet. So this was feedback, I think, from Bad Camp, where people were talking about how they wished the demo link on the homepage actually went to a demo and not to Pantheon. And so Nate came home and spent some time setting that up, where he now has a service set up with Tugboat where you can click on a link and get a demo site as opposed to needing to sign up to Pantheon for a site. So Nate, do you want to let us know where that stands right now? If I remember correctly, wherever it is better than what we have. And it would be great to figure out what the blockers are between getting that launched and where we are now. Yeah,
so we have it to the point that backdropcms.org, the code, we have code that makes it so that it's possible to communicate with the Tugboat service and authenticate its API keys and send commands to Tugboat, but we haven't yet built the form that a user would visit to say, you know, click the button to create the new demo. So even though we've got the site to the point that it can send commands to Tugboat, and I've manually typed in the commands from the command line to create demo sandboxes, I haven't actually built the form that sends the command, basically. So we're really close, but there's more work that needs to be done there to actually create the form that creates the sandboxes and to create the page on backdropcms.org where we'll need to decide what to do with it. There probably something that shows a progress bar or something like that as well. Even though in my testing it only takes about 5 seconds or so to create a demo sandbox. So a progress bar might not really be totally necessary, but anyway, it's close. But yeah, there's mostly front end work that needs to be done there.
So that form, it needs to be like a custom page callback in the module, and then what does the form collect from people? Is nothing, just a button, or do we ask them for like a name of the site or something? Do we need anything from them?
We could collect information from them, but the way that it's set up right now is that it doesn't need anything at all. It's literally just click the button to create the site. But if we wanted to make it so that they could enter in like a site name or something like that, that might be good. But I don't think we have the ability to even choose like the domain name. It's just provided for us.
Okay. So if we don't need to collect any information from them, would it be possible to put this form directly on the homepage where the try a demo button is, so that that's the button they click?
Mm-hmm. It would be.
Can we do that instead? Because that I feel like would remove the blocker for getting the thing on our site.
Yeah, do you think, because then we wouldn't need to make a new page, and
right.
So there would be no user interface changes. That's a good idea. Yeah, we'd need to make it. Yeah, we could make that happen somehow. The one problem we have is that the triad isn't the button right now. It's actually a link, or is it in a block?
It's in a block, but it's a link.
The block is the block
a custom block.
A custom block that's in code, or a custom block that just contains HTML?
In code, I think.
Okay, yeah. If it's in code, then we can add the form. But if it were just HTML, then we'd have a problem updating that link.
Yeah, I think it's a custom block because I added fields for like the Backdrop version, and it updates that automatically now. So I think it would be pretty easy to just swap out the link code for form code there, and then just make sure it's styled the same way.
Yeah. Do we have a page for hosting platforms? I thought that we did.
We have one. It's not hosting platforms. It's like ways to install Backdrop. So it includes local stuff as well, like install DDEV or Lando.
Okay.
but we are going to put the Pantheon stuff there. I think we also could put the tugboat demo at the top of that page. So if it's a form, we could put it, you know, on another custom block or something over there if necessary.
Interesting. Do you think that we would still put that in the header area, like under like requirements, installing, upgrading? Do you think that we would add the link there for like
more ways to try Backdrop?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes things a little simpler. Honestly, just having it go directly to a demo. Okay, I like that idea.
Okay, great. I will see. Do you have a example form that you're using to test it? Is it in the module?
Example form?
Yeah, like how are you testing the button click currently?
Oh, right now, the only thing the module does is it connects to Tugboat and authenticates, but then the only form that we have is the Tugboat settings form, like where you save the credentials.
I saw you using it before.
Yeah, right now, I'd have to run the same command manually from like a terminal window or something like that in order to make the sandbox. So backdropcms.org can send the commands, and we have the commands, but we haven't yet
made it send them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I was hoping that I would be able to put in a form and that would fix everything. But it sounds like you need to put in the form because you have to hook up the commands to the button push.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, we're close, but yeah.
If I put in the form and asked you what commands to run, would that work?
Yeah.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah, why don't I, like right now, this only lives on my local, I think. I'll push up a pull request to backdropcms.org. It's all custom code, so
yeah,
there's no contrib involved or anything like that.
Okay, well, I'll take a look at it and see if I can figure it out, and if not, I might ask a question on the pull request. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Yay! So hopefully we'll get some progress done on that, because I would love to have people be able to try out all of the new features in 1.12 at the same time as 1.12. Yeah, that would be great if we prioritize that a little bit. We did talk about on that landing page adding a video that's like a high-level overview of Backdrop, but I think that it's been really hard for us to create said video, so we shouldn't block any of this other stuff on having that video ready. So I think if we can just put that button on the homepage, that'll be our fastest path to get it done. And if in the future we do have a video, we can add a better place to put it later. So that would be nice, not a huge hurry.
Part of the point of the video was to fill time while we were waiting, and that isn't happening, right? It's going to load fast.
It's fast enough now that I think that isn't going to be necessary.
So what is the content for the sample site? Is that worked out, or is that still in TBD?
So I think, Nate, the way it works now, it's just a fresh install. So we don't actually have a database import. But I asked him about this before, and he said it would be possible to set it up so that you could import a database as part of that. It's just not doing that right now. So where we are right now is like, this will be better than what we have now, but it's not perfect. It's not our end goal. And I think that, taking baby steps towards getting there would be better.
Oh, no. I'm not complaining or anything.
Yeah.
I actually, also, it's not so much the mechanism of importing the content, but more the social issues of, what content. I've been pondering it myself and haven't, come up with any better than ideas. Yeah. So I'm just kind of curious if anything good has been kicking around. Other than I love what Drupal 8 did with the food, with the recipes. That seems pretty inspired.
Yeah, it was funny. I was just thinking a recipe site would be good, but I was then wondering where I got that idea from. But thank you for reminding me that's what Drupal 8 did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have a recipe website that has a bunch of great content on it that I'm pretty sure we could ask Dave if we could use his recipes, and then he'd be like, yeah, just put a little thing on the site that's recipes found at whatever, and it would be fine. And then it would be real content as opposed to theoretical content, which might be nice too. But yeah, I don't know how Drupal would feel if we copied their idea. I mean, it might be fun to be see a recipe site in Drupal 8, see a recipe site in Backdrop. What do you think?
We could have a literal bake-off.
Oh my gosh, the CMS Bake Off! Wow.
I love it. Let's do it.
One thing I wanted to there's a couple of concerns I have about that, and this might get into some product related things that when a user first installs Backdrop, I don't like the need to present them with a choice that seems like it's irreversible. Like, what profile do you want to install? Because then they feel like if they make the wrong choice, they're just completely hosed. So I like having the installer be streamlined. First of all, it's one less step, and it makes it so you're not asking them a question to which they may not know the answer, right? So it makes them feel much more comfortable going through the installer if you're not asking them, how do you want your site to function and look and everything? But that said, like I do think using like having some sample content could be useful. But again, the demo button, my personal feeling is that I would like it to be identical to when you install a new Backdrop website without demo content, because trying the demo should be exactly the same thing as downloading it and installing it yourself. Just if I were a user, like my expectation is what I see in the demo should be exactly what I get when I download it, and having it be consistent is important, I think. But I could also see the case be made that it's more important to sell Backdrop as quickly as possible. So
yeah, and Backdrop Core doesn't. I mean, it sells itself in the sense that it's like better than a lot of other things. And well, you just see their core, but like what makes Backdrop and Drupal really amazing is like all of the stuff you can build with it, not like the green Lego board you get out of the box. And so I think for me personally, when I try a demo site, I feel like editing a real website would give people a better feel for what Backdrop can do than editing a blank slate website. But I think, Nate, you're right that like there is sort of a, like in the language we use, there's a way that you can say, oh, you want to try Backdrop, this is what you get, versus, oh, do you want to edit a Backdrop site, right? Or give people, just paint the right picture, like log in and do whatever you want to this completed site. It might be a different terminology than like try a demo. So when you try a demo, you are expecting that you're going to get the thing that you.
Right. Yeah. So maybe that would be a follow-up for what we could put on the form that a user might fill out before they get a site, like populate with demo content versus like fresh install.
Yeah.
And that would serve both purposes. Then maybe I don't know even which one would be the right decision to make there. Like which one would be the default.
So I think that on the homepage, like the point of the homepage is to sell Backdrop. If there's just one button, give me a demo, then we should just fire up like the best sales tool we have, which is probably a completed site. This is long-term, not right now, obviously. But if when you go to click the link that says like other ways to try Backdrop, on that page, we could embed a form with more questions. That's like, do you want a fresh Backdrop install? Do you want to install populated with content? And then we can have other options like try on Pantheon or download or locally or whatever. So I think there is a way that we can answer both those questions where the homepage is our sales tool. On the other page, we can have like the try a demo, like get it fresh thing there as well for people.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay, sounds like a good plan.
I mean, Joomla for years has come with demo content that gets installed, and a lot of the Drupal distributions where I did a little work in the last couple of days with OpenAtrium, for example, and they offer sample content, Commerce Quick Start. I mean, there's a bunch of things that fill in the gaps.
I like those for giving people the experience of what it will be like to own a site, but I hate those things like 3 years later when somebody has tried to build a site on it and now they've got this like weird content type that doesn't fit their model and you can't get rid of it because there's a bunch of modules that like require, like it's super hard to work with when somebody uses that as a starting point instead of as a selling point. So I think like having some way to differentiate that with Backdrop would be good. And I don't know whether that's like a, an install profile or a recipe or a, script that's like, give me some sample content, delete the sample content or whatever. I feel like we have more ability now to make that less frustrating for people because we don't need features and requirements and all that. But yeah, I definitely see the value in having it, especially for people who aren't already familiar with the system and don't know how to build those complex things to start with. So.
Right.
All right. I feel like we're all very excited about this, which is good, but this is still our first or second bullet item on the list. So it's okay if we move on from homepage demo stuff. Okay. So next up is blog posts. Tim, you have been on fire lately, writing all of our amazing blog posts. We've got meeting summary notes. We've got all sorts and kinds of good stuff coming out from you. If you have time, I thought it would be great if we could get you to draft the 112 release blog post.
Sure.
You can look at, I can send you a link, but you can also just look at the 112 milestone in GitHub and look at all the issues that are completed and see which of those look the most exciting. Or anything that'll make a good screenshot, right? And you can make something compelling out of it, I think is good. There's a lot of stuff in the list. I'm not sure how much of it is going to be exciting, but we do have a couple more days to look at the last list and see, like, are there user experience improvements we can add? You know, are there little things that are easy that'll give us big wins? And I think we're working on some of those in the issue queue now. So yeah, I would say I trust your judgment on what to highlight. And if you want to draft it in Google Docs, that's fine. You can also draft it on the website because we now have that ability. So however you want to do it is great. And when that's done, we'll send it over to the Facet team to plug into a newsletter to send out as well.
Okay.
I also wanted to see if anybody else was working on anything for the blog. I know I have like kind of a long backlist of things that I'd like to put up there, but there isn't actually anything I'm working on. So anyone who is watching this video now or later, if you have content that you either want to see on the blog or want to put on the blog, let us know, because it would be great to get as many voices as possible on there talking about Backdrop. In terms of blog post ideas, we have a meta issue for content, which is, I think it's in here, issue 349 that talks about all the kinds of stuff we want to have on the blog. Specific ideas include a post on the SF Conservancy, more generally about what that means for Backdrop. We also want Nate to write a bullet list of things that he wants the Facet team to turn into a blog post, which may or may not happen anytime soon. Tim had mentioned wanting to write a blog post on maintaining modules for Backdrop. That's, you know, anytime you want him, I know you've been doing a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, you know the drill. Feel free to do that, or not. Community Spotlight is something I'd love to get moving on, so I'm going to reach out to the folks about Facet about doing those interviews and writing up the blog posts for us. I think that can come from sort of a neutral tone in terms of who writes it, because it's really highlighting specific people in our community and all of the great things that they're doing for Backdrop. So I'm going to reach out to them and see when we get them working on the newsletter if they can also start working on those interviews for us too. And then a couple of other things that have been hot button issues this year, like security. I think it would be nice to write a detailed blog post about how Backdrop handles security issues in core and contrib, about how we get CVEs now. All of that kind of stuff would be great. And then we also threw around the idea of writing a blog post about how Backdrop integrates with other things. That hasn't been such a huge priority for us recently, but I think it would be interesting content nonetheless. And of course, anyone who wants to share anything is welcome to create a blog post in draft mode. We have a handful of people who review those, and we'll try and publish one post every week, unless we don't have enough, or if we have too many, we'll figure it out. So there's no problem with having too much content, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, Backdrop Planet. It is January, so it is time to set this up if we want. I was thinking to just install aggregator module just the way Drupal did it, and start feeding out our own blog posts via RSS feed. If other people start writing blog posts and sharing information that they think is valuable, we can include those blogs on our site too. For now, it will be up to the editors for backdropcms.org to review and improve that. So I'm on that site every week to check, you know, once a week on Thursdays what's going on at backdropcms.org. I can check it then. if anyone else wants to sort of assume that role of reviewing content on backdropcms.org, you know, Gregory's specified interest in that in particular, if we could get the site to email him, which I think is a good idea in general. We should turn on some kind of notifications there. We could have other people who were volunteering to do the same sort of management on different days of the week. So if we had someone who's like, oh, you know, I can give half an hour of time on Monday, that might be a great thing. Or be like, you're an editor, log into the site on Monday, check and see if there's anything that's in draft state, publish it if it's not scheduled, sort of, you know, making sure that anyone who contributes gets their stuff up soon, whether that's via Drupal Planet, Backdrop Planet, or anything else, blog posts, events, that sort of thing. Newsletter, we talked about sending one for 112. I think we wanted to send one about Backdrop birthday parties too, didn't we? Did we draft? I feel like I saw a draft for that.
I drafted a newsletter. I was hoping to get something out before the virtual meetup too, but it didn't happen.
Okay. So I think we're going to send a newsletter about 112 after it comes out. But I feel like it might be valuable to mention that it's about to happen when we send this version, this newsletter first. So do you have a copy? I know I have a copy in my email somewhere. Do you have a copy of that in Google Docs?
I did. I put it in, I put it in Google Docs, and like Gregory went in and made some comments.
Okay, that's right. I saw that too. I will try and dig up that link and get that off to the folks at Facet. Sure. To throw it in our mail chat.
There's a GitHub issue for it. I'll post it in the
Okay, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for working on that. And then in general, I think so it's been a while since we've sent a newsletter to our membership. I think it would be good to send them more often, even if all the newsletter is like, hey, these are the 4 most recent things that ended up on our blog. So I don't know how the scheduling is going with the newsletter, but it might be time to add more people to our MailChimp account and manage that. So Tim, next time you have a good idea about sending a newsletter, you could just send it from our account and we don't need to go through this process. I think it would be good to maybe have you check in with the Facet people to see if there's anything special they do when setting that up. I don't think there is. I think the only thing is just making sure that we match the blog post guidelines about like sentence case formatting or whatever. Like there's some super minor things. It's probably all they do. So it'd be good to just review that and make sure we know what's going on. But I think beyond that, anyone could handle the newsletter sending. We just need to open that up so it's not a bottleneck. All right, next up here is videos. It would be great to have more videos on Backdrop. This is the kind of thing that's always on my list and never gets done. Sounds familiar. We have new features every major or every minor version of Backdrop, which I think would be fun to highlight. Some of them look great in a photo, and you can just be like, here's a photo of the new thing. Some of them are better at videos. And Nate, when you did the blog post, you did a really good job of converting still images into animated GIFs, which would play like little videos for people, which I thought was great. I don't know how to do that on my computer. There's probably some application I could use, but I don't know how to make it work. So the blog posts that I have done, I've just been still shots. But I was thinking if we wanted to make those actual videos as opposed to animated GIFs, that might also be great content for sharing on social media and other things like that that could get out to people. Animated GIFs are also great because people don't need to click play, whereas with something like a video, people would scroll past it without it auto-playing if they have their settings that way, or an animated GIF might catch someone's attention even if it didn't. So I actually think animated GIFs are better for the blog post, but I still think we should have videos, especially if they're like a little bit longer and more in detail. Like an animated GIF should like loop after a few seconds, but a video could be like, hey, and then this is over here, and then this is like this. And then you could show a bunch of different parts of the Backdrop administration, how stuff fits together, what it looks like on the front end. And yeah, so videos are good.
And videos have sound too.
Yeah.
GIFs don't, so
right, you can explain things. You can sound really excited about it. Yeah. So I do think there's definitely a lot of value in having videos over animated GIFs in some contexts, but I was really surprised by how much I liked the animated GIFs that had gone out in the past. So thanks for that. All right, ideas for videos include not only the new features that go into each minor version of Backdrop, but some cool things that you can do with Backdrop, including unbranded pages, which I actually started a video on, but I think it failed to record adequately, so I might try that again. How to update a Pantheon site, which is something we can do now that we have a bunch of updates coming out. That might be really fun to do too, using the new core update user interface. So that would have to be done on a dev site where you have SFTP mode on Pantheon. So I definitely think that's something that would be good to do in a video so you can show people how that works. So I'm just gonna put an asterisk here so I can remember that for later. How to port tests. A lot of people are porting Drupal modules to Backdrop, and they get to the test stuff, and the tests in Backdrop are a little different than they were in Drupal. So just a little, you know, it would only take 5 minutes to explain those changes, but because they are different, I think that video is going to be really useful to people. So that's also a good thing to do. And then if there's anything else anyone really wants to see a video of, maybe this is a good thing to do my configuration management example in. It's hard because it's not very exciting to see like git push, git pull, but it might still be valuable to someone. So yeah, talking through it maybe is the value there. But yeah, if there's anything anyone wants to see, in particular videos of Backdrop, we have issue tag videos for things we think would make good videos. This is in the backdropcms.org queue. And issue number 130 in particular is where we've outlined the things we'd like to make videos of. So feel free to add a comment there and we can make videos of stuff. Tweets. Stuff we should be tweeting about right now includes the upcoming release of Backdrop 112. Tim, you have been amazing about tweeting about stuff, in particular about issues where we need feedback from people. So thank you for continuing that. That's great. Backdrop's birthday parties next Tuesday. I think everyone who's running one should be soliciting more attendees for those on Twitter. So that's something we can do if we have Twitter accounts. And we have Backdrop events coming up too. I think there's a couple of Backdrop sessions that were submitted for Drupal Camp Florida. I know there's a couple that were submitted for the Midwest Drupal Camp. Anything that anyone's doing Backdrop related, training, sprinting, meetups, I think all of that stuff we can be promoting. There does seem to be a lot more Backdrop activity this month now that it's no longer holiday season. So it'd be good to let people know what's going on. Nate, are you laughing because there's a cat destroying things behind me in the video? No. Okay. It happens.
I didn't see any Backdrop sessions on the Florida page. Maybe I missed them, but
I don't know if they were selected. I think
the deadline hasn't happened yet. The deadline is until Monday. So I'm planning to submit something.
Okay.
There were a bunch of listings there, and I don't know if they were, I don't remember if they were like all of the sessions submitted or not.
Okay. I don't know that for sure. That was just a memory, and my memory might be faulty. So.
Do you know who might have submitted them? Did you submit anything?
I did not submit anything. I thought there were local Florida people who had submitted something, but I might be confused about that.
Okay.
I don't remember. Let's see. Anywhere else that's Backdrop related that you think might be able to write an article about Backdrop would be great. We used to do articles in the Drupal Watchdog magazine. Writing guest blog posts on other sources is super interesting. We had a great mention recently from Quinn, who attended Bad Camp at the Backdrop Summit at Bad Camp. And she wrote a fantastic blog post up about what it's like to do websites for digital humanities, I think is the name of her area of focus. In particular, she's been using a lot of Drupal, and she mentioned how she thought Backdrop would be good for that particular audience, which I thought was great. She's also working on rewriting a book she has, which was Digital Humanities in Drupal. She's now making it a Digital Humanities in Backdrop. So you'll see her in the issue queue asking questions about stuff and filing issues and fixing issues, which is amazing. Because of her work on that book. So shout outs to Quinn for helping us promote Backdrop and doing a really great job of helping us improve Backdrop in the process, which is great. Anything else you guys can think of where we should be mentioning Backdrop? we can work on that. Let us know. There's an issue number 126 in the backdropcms.org queue. All right, let's move on to Meetup. So Tim, do you want to do a quick update on how the virtual user group went?
Sure. We had, it happened on Tuesday at 9 a.m. West Pacific time, 11 a.m. Central time. We had, I think, 7 or was it 8 participants? I was going to...
that's a great turnout.
Yeah, I was pleased. A lot of familiar faces. We had at least one person that I think that Gregory must have recruited from Greece that was there. We talked about configuration management. I feel like the discussion got, and Luke and I talked about this on the call and had slightly differing opinions, but as a user group, I'd really want to focus the virtual user group on solving sort of people's today problems. And I think Luke brought up some great feedback on like where he struggled with configuration management, and I felt like we started to drift into how to solve those problems.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's wrong, but I think that when it happens at the expense of sort of helping users solve their immediate problems at a user group, which is why I think they're there. I mean, I'm hoping that the user group addresses a different audience, right?
Yeah, that is hard though. I'm also always tempted to, like, when you hear about a problem, you're like, how do we fix the problem? Rather than like, what do I do right now?
That's the only reason that I keep kind of bringing it up is I don't want to squash it entirely, but I want us all, if we do this, to be conscious of that and try not to fall into that mode too much, but to balance it. We don't want to ignore it.
There's always the tension between service and product, right?
So finding the right balance, I think, is going to be something for us to think about. That's all. There seemed to be, the feedback was good. I think most of the people that participated said, this was great, let's do it again. So I'm just looking for feedback on whether or not that was the right time slot. I would be open to testing another time slot, even as an extra one, but to see if there's different people that show up. But for now, I haven't gotten any feedback on the need to do that. So maybe we'll just do the next one in the same time slot. Open to other topics, although I feel like the configure, we left enough unsaid about configuration management that we might want to revisit that. So I think, Jen, you were talking about like creating videos. Ideally, we'd record these, and they're not the same as a short demo video, but having these available as videos would be a really great resource.
Yeah.
And that might be, if the configuration management is hard for the other format, like doing a demo during a user group meeting would be a way of, one, getting it recorded. But I think it would that demo might be more useful in a situation where people can ask questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So open. If anybody has suggestions on timing or topic, let me know. I think I'll try and announce something for the next one by tomorrow.
Okay. I'd love to do another one at the same time. I think that was a good time. At least it works for us California people, which is nice. And I think a great idea for a topic would be layouts, because that's another new feature in Backdrop. And it sort of, I have a lot of experience with layouts and panels in Drupal, and I'm running into my experience with Backdrop being significantly different than my experience with panels. And it would be good to talk about that with other people to see if that's just me or if others are sort of developing new habits when working with Backdrop compared to what they did before. So.
Great. I'm going to suggest this, if this is okay, that we have our next regular topic be that. I think it's also a little bit more beginnerish. I was a little nervous about configuration management for the first topic because, I want to appeal to users, and config management is a little bit advanced. Layouts will be more of a beginner topic or intermediate. Let's schedule, though, a follow-up, maybe a special event on configuration management for the explicit purpose of getting you to demo what you're doing, recording that, and getting questions, and also because, very selfishly, I want to see what you're doing.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. And
but
also,
I don't want to do the same topic twice in a row. So
yeah, and if you do get people at the next meeting who are the same people are at the first meeting, I'm also happy to like hang out, like end the meeting and be like, hey, follow up from last week. Let's talk about whatever. I think that would be fun.
Good.
Well, it's still fresh in people's minds. All right, well, thank you for running that. I think that's a great idea. I'm excited about the turnout. I also feel like if it becomes a regular thing, it's something that, you know, if people can count on, like, oh, I can drop in this week and like ask questions or, you know, chat about layouts or whatever it is that's interesting to them. I think that's going to be a really big value to the whole community. So good job. All right, birthday parties. Next Tuesday is Backdrop's birthday, also Drupal's birthday. Backdrop turns 4 and Drupal comes of age. I think they're 18. Yeah, it's exciting.
17 last year.
Yeah. So Drupal can vote if they were a person. All right, so we have 4 locations currently scheduled: Oakland, California, Twin Cities, Minnesota, Reno, Nevada. I think that's tentative. I haven't heard from the flats as to whether that's got a venue or anything. And then a new one was added in France, which is super exciting. We've got a couple of European Drupalers that are going to try and get together, Drupaler backdroppers, and celebrate. I ordered a cake for my party. It's got rainbows, and I'm not going to say anything other than that. You'll have to come to the party to find out what's going on with the cake. But yeah, I thought that might be a fun driver to get people to come because everybody wants cake, right? Obviously, you would do that rather than be excited about your CMS. But yeah, we have a venue. It should work rain or shine. It'll probably be just us there if it's raining, but we'll stay dry, which is good. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to invite 127 other people, so we'll see who
Yay!
comes.
All right. If no one else has any updates about birthday parties, I would just like to encourage everyone to check out the events page on backdropcms.org, where you can see not only the birthday parties that are coming up next week, but Drupal camps that may have areas of Backdrop. So either Backdrop talks or Backdrop sessions or Backdrop people there who want to share their experience. Those will be posted there too. And we have a forum post if you're interested in organizing your own meetups. Tim's going to do virtual ones, which is great. Luke and I have talked about doing in-person ones. We're going to talk to everyone at the birthday party next week about that too, and try and get something going here in the Bay Area. But I think the virtual ones is a great way to start too, because there are going to be a lot of people that aren't in geographic areas where a in-person one is going to make sense. So I'm really excited about that.
Can I say something on that too? Because I went ahead and set up a meetup page for the Twin Cities Backdrop user group, partly so I'd had a place to advertise the party. But I want to do some other events. I did quickly, like I'm going to be sprinting on Backdrop a couple weeks ago on a Saturday, and I had one complete newbie that I'd never heard of show up, and he was just somebody from the community that was like, hey, I want to learn about CMSs. And
that's great.
I sat down and gave him a one-on-one demo of Backdrop, and you know, it wasn't a big deal, but it was, you know, all it took was putting up a thing on meetup.com and saying I'd be available on that day.
Yeah.
So.
Luke, do you manage your user group through meetup.com too? Yeah. I think that's a good tool. It seems to be that everybody's already on there, so.
It brings in new people. Surprise. The Drupal user group uses it as well. And most of our new people come from meetup.com.
That's great. All right, well, that is the end of our agenda. It is almost the end of our time as well, but because every meeting should always be followed by an open Q&A or an open discussion section, if there's anything else anyone wants to add, now's a good time. No. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and wrap this meeting, and we will start again in about 5 minutes to talk about all of the exciting stuff that's going into Backdrop 112 and where we need the most help to get it wrapped up. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Okay.
And thanks for watching.
I'll be looking on that one.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See you guys soon.